What's up guys, ZiSotto here, and today we're doing something that I haven't done before and I'd like to hear your opinion on it, which is a gameplay commentary in hindsight. So, we had a game today that went pretty alright, or I had a game rather, but I did not have the audio recording. The audio recording just got botched. So, I figured, you know, I could just commentate over the same game after the game and have a bit more of a controlled way of talking about it, basically, rather than in-game decision making in that very moment where you're kind of distracted by playing. And I think I'll do that for this one and see how it goes. If you guys like it, I'll do it more often, and if not, then we won't. So, what you'll see is I am playing Hun Batz Jungle. I was a little late because of the technical difficulties to the lane. I'm laning with an Anubis, and the enemy laners, or the jungler and the enemy laner, are a Hell and a Thanatos. Thanatos has a lot of early pressure, Hun Batz has pretty much none. I have to play very careful, I have to play back. And Anubis, on the other hand, has a lot more early pressure than Hell, which he can basically abuse a lot. So what you see us do is go for the elementals. We should not have gone for the harpies on the right after the first wave, simply because they don't put you on level 2 anymore. Unfortunately, I kind of had to follow up what the Anubis was doing, because I was already late anyways. And that was it. I'm looking for some poke here on the Hell, nothing too serious. You know that Hell can heal up pretty quickly, and I early on don't have enough damage to take her down, unless my Anubis follows up immediately with a stun, as otherwise I will just land my 2 and my 3 maybe, and my 1 at best with an AA cancel. And if I land all that, I have a chance to kill her, but most likely she will just heal, or she will just get out through the movement speed from the heal, something like that, so it's not too much worth investing into it. Here we're just going for the backups, because I know the speed is down. I know I do not want to contest the blue buff against the Thanatos on the left side, so I just get the extra XP. My goal right now is basically to get to level 5, get some farm online, and get my ultimate. Before that, I'm almost useless. You'll see that the Anubis goes in very aggressively. I kind of have to follow up just to keep the enemies away. I did not see any kill potential there, so I didn't want to hard engage. And it luckily goes out well, but the Thana doesn't back, the Anubis doesn't back afterwards, and the Thana's coming around the corner. He doesn't see it. I know that he's there, but he doesn't see it. You'll actually hear him right here, and there he is. He's coming in, he's trying to get a kill. I'm trying to poke him out. Unfortunately, I missed my 3 right here. Otherwise, I probably would have gotten the kill. Like this, I didn't have enough mana to kill him otherwise, and Thanatos just has too many means of healing up even when he's low that I can't really aggress onto him. So I go back to clearing the wave, just trying to play it safe, and pretty low on mana here as well, just trying to farm up a little bit. I know that the speed is coming up soon, but not yet. I just want to have the vision of it, so it's shown up. But I know that the elementals are up, so I'm rotating towards the elementals. Unfortunately, the Anubis doesn't see that. He goes to backups and then goes back. My plan was to go to elementals and then to speed. I wanted to ping that, but I didn't, so my mistake there. So I try to clear the elementals here, get the 2 smalls, which is already pretty good. But then you see Hell rotating in, as Anubis doesn't really have much pressure on mid. I try to kite them around a little bit, somehow secure it, but nah, it's Hell. Too much damage. This is where we would have kill potential, but unfortunately, at first the Hell gets her Aegis, and then I slow her down and keep going into her. But Thana shows up, and I know that, again, I can't really trade in the Thana. I didn't have too many means of following up to the Hell. I could have maybe blinked in, but it would have been a very risky play because we had no vision of the solo at that point, so I just drop in and figure I go back for it later. Instead, I'm going for more farm, getting the left mid harpies here, but Thana's coming in from behind, so we try kind of to avoid him. I'm just going to ult here to get out of this situation. I know that I'm not going to use the ult too aggressively all too soon, most likely, because everyone is still kind of in their lane, and again, I can't really trade with the Thana. So it's not too bad, and I make sure that both of us survive and we just walk out. Hell is almost out of mana, so it's not too much of an issue. Thana's obviously looking to aggress, but he's only now hit level 5, so it's not too much of a problem. Staying in back here, unfortunately the Anubis doesn't really build up the pressure to clear the wave constantly before they hit tower, which would be nice. But as I said before, I got the vision of the speed buff here, and that's exactly where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pick up the speed, which is, you know, always beneficial as a jungler for your rotations, gets your rotational speed up, and therefore it secures ganks and farm. So you want to get that whenever possible. That's why pretty much any jungler in the pro scene is speed buff addicted. Speed addicted. And I can also go for the blue buff here. The Guan was really upset before because I didn't get it for him, but it's actually still up this time. I was a bit surprised about that, but I was like, alright, take it. He's looking for some weird non-trades trades here. We'll see him going in again and again, but I'm just like, okay, are you gonna go in or not? He's not committing, and I don't have much mana, so I'm figuring I might as well go out. Realizing that the elemental's already up, so I want to soak up that little bit of extra farm here. Knowing that both I and the enemies will have this timer, I want to do this as quickly as possible in order to just secure the farm this time. But what happens? Thana pops up, and I don't get them again. This time I gotta get the hell out of there because there's the Amaterasu as well. Guan Yu does not get the Mimo and ultimates into them and tries to fight them. I have no mana and not enough health to fight them and 3 people, so he takes a quick backing to base without actually backing. Meanwhile, I'm safely in base and I'm just gonna get my pot here and 2 wards actually. Because, you know, I want to get that vision up. We don't have much vision yet. I see them fighting in the middle here, but in the dual lane they're getting pretty damn farmed, especially Skadi is farming the enemy Skadi, and that's very much to our advantage. So I go into the middle, just soak up the farm from the wave, knowing that the enemies won't be there for it, and that wave is still the best farm. Look for a little bit of aggression onto the hell here, knowing that now I have kill potential, but I kind of mess up by throwing my 3. I should have instead went for the 2 and for the ult, and I could have killed her. Just derped there and thought I could teleport onto her, but the teleport obviously bounced back to the minions, which I should have known. But I go for the red buff just to get something. I see that Thana is on the back hub, so most likely it's Thana at least. So I gotta get there quickly, gotta get out of there quickly. Got Ganesh and Skadi coming in, but we have both their buffs. I can even steal a bit of this cheeky wave, or not steal it, but take it. And then I just walk out. Now what will happen is that I will obviously rotate onto our red buff, as we had no pressure on that. Which is a bit unfortunate, because really we should have had that. We should have just been able to get both. But we have a 3-4 man rotation onto the Thana, and that means dead Thana and a kill for me. So it kind of evens out. And from there on, we can kind of farm. Amaterasu is looking for some aggression on the Anubis. I probably should have paid attention to that, but then again, I am still low on mana, so I really don't want to do too much here. I probably should have backed at some point in between to get the mana, but or at least play a little bit more mana conservative. But what I know is that the hell's still around the corner. This is what I'm going to look for. I'm going to look for the blink ult here, and that kind of pushes her into my team, and I know that she's not going to get out. We will lose Anubis in return. Kind of have to block a little bit here, more or less. Then I know that gap's far away enough, but he's still pretty low. I should have probably blocked a little more. Didn't want to risk too much myself, because I know that they can still kind of blow me up. And so I just hang back and get the farm, or the XP at least, from these minions here for a while. I just don't want to go into deep, because I don't know who is around, who could come into my face, basically. And this will be misquoted on YouTube, I know it. And now I will just go over to my speed buff and secure that. Once again, like I said, important for the rotations. We have a lot of farm up on the map. You can see that the elementals are up, the blues up, the mids are up, reds no, the reds not up, sorry. Oracles might be up, I'm not even sure about that. And I really should be getting more here, but unfortunately I don't have enough mana for that, so I'm just gonna go for the back hubs. And I will go back after that. Guan Yu, on the other hand, should definitely be going for something else instead of chasing 2 people around. The straight in middle, in general, is not very beneficial. I think they should all just back out. Gonna build Jotans here, as I want to get some early CDR, but also some early pen and power. You can also go Hydras, but I just felt like I won't be able to AA that much in many situations here, because they might get out of AA range, especially guys like Skadi, Thanatos, and Hell all have ways of getting faster and getting out of that range relatively quickly. So I'd rather just have the safe ability damage, which I can hit from range, and it also doesn't require me to position myself as dangerously, which, again, with the Thanatos is a bit of a problem. So what happened is they went too deep as expected, and they kept fighting in an engage that was basically long over. They should have just not committed anymore. They kept going in, so they died. I just ward up here and left, finally using some wards, just to get some vision for the rotations and so on. This time, I will finally get my elementals, get the extra XP and gold from that. And then I wanted to go for blue, but I realized if I go for blue now, Guan might not be there in time, and if he's not going to be there in time, he's going to be super tilted. So instead, I go to the solo lane to get the wave. The Amaterasu here is relatively farmed. She has 3 kills, which I just checked, and she has 3 levels on me that way. Obviously, solo laner plus a lot of kills equals a lot of pain. But what I can do here is still clear the wave. I know that she's on blue, I pinged that out, but the Guan Yu is having none of that, he's going for Thana. I know that I can probably not contest her all too well. I see that the blue is still up, but I go in for my 2. If I would have gone for my 3, I had a better chance of stealing it, just a misplay on my side really. But I didn't honestly care too much because I didn't have a feeling that the Guan Yu was gonna come over to pick it up anyways. So, yeah. Didn't really matter all too much to me. Now that Thanos coming in, I wanted to blink there, but somehow couldn't blink over the wall. It was just a bad spot, just too much of a wall in between there. But I'm trying to look for the blink here, and I get the blink, and I get the ult, and I get the double. So in the end, it was kind of nice that I didn't get the ult beforehand, because it was worth it. I know that gold's up. There are 2 members down in the enemy team, 2 of the ones that are more of a threat to us. Hell doesn't have much secure. Ganesh could secure with his ult only, basically, which I'm assuming is probably not up. And the other one is Skadi, who is pushing lane and is very oblivious to what we're doing. I know that she's still around lane. I want to see where exactly she is, if I can scout out. I saw her there, but I realized she's not going forward, she's going backwards, so I'm not going to do much here for now. Instead, I go over to the buffs and scout those out to see what can be done here. I realize that red is down and purple is down too, but Gap pings out the Skadi and I see that she's still in lane, so I'm like, okay, let's go there. I'm jump on her to slow her, because I know that she's not going to kill me anyways, and we get a very free kill here because of that. Usually I wouldn't do these aggressive jumps, but in this case it was fine because I know that I would have been able to get out and we had 2 players around if anything went wrong. Back to base afterwards, just because my teammates went, and then building into Hydras still. As a second item, I still think it has a lot of powers, a lot of CDR, very beneficial overall on Hun Batz, who's got this crit combination. So, despite everything else, I still go for it, even though obviously something like Brawlers would have been really nice here as well against the Hell. I do check the enemy team once again, and then what I realized obviously is that they don't have too many ways of forcing beats out, or like pushing me into beats. They have the Ganesh CC, they have the Thana ult CC or the silence, and they have the Amaterasu, which is very predictable basically. And instead I go for Aegis, which can prevent a lot of the damage. So even if they were to try and CC me, I could just use the Aegis and avoid the damage after the CC for a long time. This is a bit of an unlucky engage for me because the Ganesh pillars are like right around, so I blink over and I ult, and I get a pretty nice spot because the Ganesh Death is in. At the same time I get the Hell, just teleport on the Hell with my 3, and then she uses the Aegis. I don't know why she even uses the Aegis, because I'm not expecting her to survive. She gets a little shell, but that's still it for her and Ganesh, and that's 2 kills for us, which is pretty nice. And the next objective here is Portal Demon, simply because it's up in as opposed to the Gold Fury, and because we can get some extra farm and some extra mobility across the map. I would have even gone for Fire Giant here, simply because we have an Anubis and we have a Skadi who both have very high damage, and could have a Guan Yu even with his 3 dealing decent damage to it. Unfortunately, the Skadi decided to go back to a lane and farm, so I can't do that, and instead I'll just hang around here a little bit. I call out for the Anubis to retreat. Maybe not the best call because I was out of mana, but I didn't realize that the Guan Yu was already teleporting in. Maybe they could have killed him. I just wanted to indicate that I won't be able to fight with them. So I figured better safe than sorry here. Drop the red buff for the Anubis, or the Skadi, whoever wants to pick it up. Realize that the Skadi is under pressure. At first I thought I can't really do much here because I don't have mana and I have no CC. But I charge my 2 and I just walk forward towards them. It's enough to scare them off. Surprisingly, because I feel like they could have gotten a kill there, but then they would have been rotated on by the gap anyway, so they may have had vision, they may have gotten calls. And I get very lucky here because I get through the portal right as it ends. And then I just rotate over to the left lane. You'll see a fight going on around right, but what I realize is that Amaterasu is in right and everyone else is around middle at least. So I know that I have at least some time to push this tower, and for all I know, they might be busy over there for a while. And while that fight is one where I would like to participate, I have Blink and my ult up, so it would be very beneficial. I'm on the other side of the map. I know I'm not going to get there in time to do anything relevant, so I'd rather be on this side and push a tower down, get my team some extra gold, some extra farm, because the Gold Fury is down, so even if they were to get all the kills there, they couldn't do much until they rotated back over here anyways. So I just keep pushing down that tower. They're chasing the Amaterasu in middle. The pressure's kind of changed over to middle slowly, but I know that I can pretty much safely get most of the tower, and I realize that I can even get the full tower. After that, I obviously lose some health because I have to tank some shots. Luckily for me, the speed buff is up. I would like to take more from here, but I know that my team is fighting in the middle. So what I'm going to do is heal up on the speed buff, get the speed buff, so I get almost full health. I got more movement speed to go in, and then I rotate towards my team. as it stands, my team has already taken pretty much anyone out, but Thanatos is rotating back in. I'm just gonna blink behind him, ult him, so he CC'd, and well, he can have another trip back to base, which is very helpful because that allows us to push down that mid tower safely, even though I just took out a single target with that. And the enemy team decides to surrender here, a little bit unfortunate. I think they could have gone on for at least a while, as they also had a team comp that would have allowed them to fight on. Amaterasu very late game, Hell very late game. Skadi was maybe the biggest issue because our Skadi just got incredibly farmed compared to theirs, but their comp was, except for the Thanatos, very late game oriented, and the Thanatos also is not completely garbage in late game anymore. So they had enough options. Unfortunately, they didn't want to make use of them, and they surrendered at this point. And that's where we're at. We have a quick look at the builds here. I would say that Guan Yu's build was relatively good. He's got the protection that he needs. Then a Gap's build was a bit risky because he had CDR boots and no early Lonos Mask or something, which is, you know, acceptable, but not what I would personally build. And then obviously, interestingly enough, between the Gap and the Guan Yu, we have 2 meditations and we have no anti-heal on the whole enemy team, which in my opinion is a bit of a weird decision. Furthermore, Gap also went into Pestilence second, which I am not so sure about. Obviously, it's counters Hell, but and Thanatos to some degree, but still, there was 3 physicals on the enemy team, and every minion, every objective first deals physical damage, so you kind of want to have some physical protection in those situations. Skadi got incredibly farmed, a typical ability build there, no surprise. Not much to say about my build, I talked about that. Anubis build, I guess I would probably build a little differently, but it's definitely fine. Then we have Ganesh and Thanatos and Hell and Skadi and Amaterasu on the other team, which all kind of had comparatively wonky builds, maybe with the exception of Amaterasu and Hell. Ganesh, I just wouldn't rush Urchin anymore. Thanatos, I don't know, I think he was trying to try out Devils. Hell, very standard build at the moment, not much to say there. Skadi, again, the try to make Devils work, I guess. I don't think it's that beneficial on Skadi. And last but not least, Amaterasu. Obviously a bit optimistic with that early shield of regrowth there, but it can work, especially when you're against a Guan Yu. And I think the Amaterasu was not where the team struggled the most. If you look at her kill death ratios, she has the best one out of their team, so I would put the problems elsewhere. And what I was expecting here is that my player damage would be incredibly low, and it was actually the lowest on the team. Not quite the lowest on both teams, but almost there as well. That was mainly because I did not participate in that last team fight at all, where everyone was slapping each other down, and instead opted to split push. Plus, obviously, there was a lot of kills, a lot of fighting going on in the dual lane. So Skadi got a lot of kills, and Gap even got a lot of aggression going, so a lot of damage there. Whereas dual lane, solo lane, sorry, was the typical slap fight, and with Guan Yu, you get a decent amount of damage off there as well. Warding was decent across the team, with the exception of Guan Yu. Enemy team generally warded less, should have warded more. What else to say? Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to comment down below if you would like to see something like this again, if you think this is a good format. Other than that, if you're not subscribed yet, feel free to click the sub button, maybe the bell, it really helps me out. See you for the next one tomorrow. Duke Sloth, out.